We got the good vibe, got the 1942 pouring in my cup. In the session real loud, good gas, yeah, you know we about to roll it up. Bring the bottles to the session, big tab, go ahead and just live it up. Get lit one night, after that, we can go ahead.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon. And we in the Hell 95 South Podcast once again. Again, I want to thank God for this opportunity to be able to come on this platform, to be able to do what we do, especially during these holiday seasons. So I'm hoping everybody's having a great holiday. And if you're not, then you know, hopefully to get better for you. So anyway, introduce my right hand man, Mr. Barry White Jr., himself, your baby mama's favorite host. You know what I'm saying? Jacob the Great. What's going on, fam?
Oh, man, blessed to be in the land of the living. It's always exciting when you see another day. We got a chance and a choice in another day to get it right, man, for sure.
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, so, man, let's go ahead and get this interview started, man. Introduce this young man so we can get some knowledge, you know what I'm saying, tonight that everybody needs.
Now, tonight, we have a special guest. I had the privilege of watching this young man grow up. His grandfather is a real active dude in the community all my life. None other than, Brad Yee, home consultant, Clayton Homes, Greenwood, South Carolina. Welcome to the show, man.
How's it going, fellas? I appreciate being on your platform, ready to drop some knowledge.
Okay. So, man, Clayton Homes been around for a very, very long time, and you are a home consultant for one of the largest companies, when it comes to mobile home, modular homes, when it comes to, people getting a home that they deserve, and, being that they can own the land that you put the home on, and, all the great underpinning they have as far as the brick underpinning, the cement underpinning, and so on and so forth. So what made you want to be a home consultant?
Well, Jacob, one thing I always say is, I wasn't born to do this. I kind of found my way into the industry, and it was really amazing. Once I got into it, just realizing the impact that I could have on so many different people in the community, helping someone achieve home ownership is just a really great feeling. And I'm blessed to have the opportunity to help so many people.
Okay, so home ownership versus renting. What are some of the conversations that you have with people when trying to get them to understand the value of home ownership? And, once you have their home ownership and you have it for a while and you can pull the equity out the home and stuff like that. So what are some of the conversations that you have to really get them to understand that while you're renting over here, you can be paying this much and owning a home, something that you can call your own, something you can leave for your children? So what are some of those conversations?
Yes, sir. So one thing I always tell, people in general, especially my customers, is that you're going to pay somebody's mortgage. It might as well be yours. So whenever you're renting, there's nothing wrong with that. And I always tell people that, if you're not stable, if you're not sure you're going to be in a particular city more than a couple years, then it's a smart thing to rent. You don't want to purchase if you're not planning on being in that location for at least a couple years. But I do tell people that if you're in a career that, you see yourself sticking with, it's a good fit. Or if you know for a fact, you want to stick around a certain town that you're living in, it's always going to be smarter in the long run to purchase just because you're going to build that equity. And so, you can always pull the equity out of a home if you have to, but I always tell people it's good to just, stick with it, purchase it, pay it outright, because, that day comes whenever you get the title to your home or that your deed is free, you don't owe anybody any money, and when you live a debt-free life, you can build wealth extremely fast. One thing that I always tell people, if you just imagine if you're paying rent, let's just say if it's $1,100 per month, If you get to a point where instead of you're debt free, your house is paid for, instead of putting that $1,100 into a bank's pocket, if you put that money into a good growth stock mutual fund, you can be a millionaire in 15 to 20 years, without a doubt. But the thing about debt is that when you're making a good income and you're giving it all away, it's really hard to build that wealth. It's a cycle. But when you start owning your home and you put that money into your home and you're building that equity, and eventually when that thing's paid off, it's like the chains are free. Because the thing is, you're always going to have to live somewhere. So if you don't own your home and you're renting, you're going to always have that payment.
Okay. Icon.
Okay, so what over the years, because I remember back in the 90s when I first seen some of the modular homes, I was kind of blown away then, and now you see them now, and some of them, a lot of specs is probably better than an actual, house itself. So what goes into them steadily always upgrading and able to still maybe keep the cost lower than what you would buying in maybe a normal house?
For sure. So I kind of, brother, I'm glad you asked that question. So one thing I do want to say about the whole modular home, manufacturing mobile homes, it's a big difference between the two. A lot of people think a modular home is essentially like a really, really fancy double wide. But it's actually a modular home is actually a site-built home. So the same codes that go into building a site-built home, what we do is if you order a modular home from us, we're going to figure out what county you want that modular home to go to. And then we source the county codes that stick-built homes are required to be built to for that specific county. And we get our factories to make sure the home is built to those same exact codes as a stick-built. So a modular is essentially the same as a stick-built. It's just instead of it being built on the dirt, it's actually built inside our factories. And once we get it shipped to your property, we build that foundation on your site, just like a site-built home. We use a crane to pick up the modular home, remove that axle and frame out, and we set it on a permanent foundation. So your modular home is going to be essentially just like a stick-built home, but you will save a little bit of money because instead of it being built on the dirt using a private builder, we're a large company that, we own supply chains, and we can build it more cost-effective inside the factory. But your modular homes these days, they do start at around $225K, and they can go all the way up to $500,000. So they're very, very expensive, but at the same time, they're identical and built equivalent to a site-built home. Now, your manufactured homes are what you're going to call your double wides or, mobile homes. Now, with those, they're built extremely, extremely well, and the cost can stay low. But typically, as far as your features, it's, your sheetrock, say your fireplaces, your higher roof pitches, all your nice appliances. We offer all of that stuff in our manufactured homes, and we're able to save you a lot of money compared to what a site built or a modular would be.
Okay, so the mobile homes still they still just want, so the mobile homes aren't ever 2 levels.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, brother.
So the mobile homes are still 1 level homes. They're never like, 2-story homes.
Correct. So your modular home can be 2 stories. Now, one thing that we can do a mobile home as, in which we don't call them mobile homes anymore, we call them manufactured homes. We can do like added space. So we can have what's called an 812 roof pitch. So your roof pitch will be really, really high, just like a stick built. But we'll have like some drop down stairs that you can basically like pull down, and you can walk up to the added space. So we don't finish it out in the manufactured homes, but we can do like an upstairs, but it'll just be your added space.
Okay. So do y'all still do like as far as if you do the land package, is that you do yourself, or somebody you outsource to go look for somebody, or does a person that's looking to purchase the home have to do all the work themselves when it comes to the land part?
Yes, sir. So I'm a one-stop shop, baby. So the thing is, if you come to me, you fill out the application with me. I'm going to send it all to my lenders. They're going to get you pre-approved, similar to how a regular site built pre-approval would look like. And that's when I'll know my budget. So what we'll do, Akani, is if we got that pre-approval, whatever kind of land that the customer is looking for, I can help them, find that land, get the land under contract. Once the land is under contract, help them get to the closing table. Once it's closed out, we help with the clearing, the grading, the well, septic, driveway, garage, all of that stuff that goes into the project can be financed in, and we handle it all, just directly through me.
Okay, so pre-qualification, comes in, do pre-qualification. So score that minimum score you can have, minimum time on job, whether it's employment or whether it's regular employment or independent contract work. So what's that look like?
So the biggest thing is if someone needs land, it's going to be very similar to if you try to go buy a site build. So you want to be around a 620. We do FHA, USDA, BA loans. So we do offer all of those same programs. But really my lenders, they're the ones who's going to handle as far as, your interest rate, your credit score, where you got to be at. I'll just do the application and send that off. And then my lender will have that conversation with the client as far as the pre-approval and the numbers. But once the customer works with my lender and they get, to the number they want to be at as far as a match, I get that number, and then I'm going to build that land home package around, that approval. So I'm going to find land and a home that's in the budget, with the payment the customer wants to be at that they talked about with the lender.
Okay, so I was talking to a guy, it was probably maybe about 2 years ago now, so I don't know where the market is now. But basically saying that a lot of developers was coming in, and he was out in Texas, and he was saying get with a family, get them approved, get to the final point where they're about to sign the papers, and the developer will come in and offer cash money. And then, of course, you want to make that sale, but he was frustrated because you got a family all gung-ho about the house, and now you got to tell them they've got to go back to the drawing board and look for a new house for them because, this developer comes in, cash money to the bank or whatever. So do you get a lot of that in the South Carolina area?
Well, we got certain practices in place that protect my clients. So the way I do it, let's say if someone comes to see me tomorrow and they find a piece of land that they like in Saluda County, we're going to get that land under contract. So I'm going to talk to the land seller, figure out exactly what will they require to put the land under contract. Let's just say most people are going to want $1,000 down for earnest money. So if someone's selling land in Saluda County, I'm going to get my client to give that land seller $1,000. And I'm going to tell the land seller, look, we need to put this under contract. How long are you comfortable, extending this out? So a lot of times we'll have like a 60-day window where the land seller cannot sell that land to anybody else within that 60 days. As long as we gave them that $1,000, we got the date on the land contract, we get it signed. And then, so we're locked in for 60 days. Now, if my client can't close within 60 days, let's say they didn't have the down payment money or, something came up, at that point, the contract will be voided, and then the land seller is free to sell it to whoever, may come in with a better offer. But one thing we do to protect the clients is we're going to do a land contract, and we're going to lock that land up for at least 60 days. That way our clients have enough time to bring in a down payment, process the income and everything. And then once we get closed out, that's when, we can actually break ground on the project and get the home and clear the land and get everything ready for them.
Okay. Go ahead, Jacob.
Okay, so speaking of people, shopping with you, buying with you, what type of veteran programs do you have? And the reason I'm asking that, because Icon E is a veteran, you know what I mean? So,
yes, sir.
So what type of base veteran programs do y'all have to really help veterans get into a home?
I kind of, thank you for your service, brother. So, one program that we do offer is if you're a veteran and you come to me, we're going to make sure we get you a great discount. That could range somewhere between $3,000 and $15,000, just depending on the home you're going to be looking at. And then on the finance side, we use the lenders that offer those BA loans, which is a zero down. So if you're looking to get land and that land needs to be cleared, well, septic, driveway, garage, whatever the case may be, we can help you purchase the land, get everything ready with a home, and then you'll be at zero down. And like I said, we can do that $3,000 to $15,000 discount as well.
Okay.
Okay, so for those that don't know the background of Clayton Homes, and the percentage of homes that you guys have sold within the last year, and how the rate has went up for the manufacturing homes and the modular homes, and because more people are buying them more than ever now, instead of them going into a subdivision, because people want their own space, their own land, and sometimes people feel like a subdivision is too close. They don't have enough space for, entertaining guests, or the kids to play in the backyard, or to build a basketball court in the backyard, and so why do you think that it's been an increased amount of people that purchase manufacturing homes and modular homes versus going into a subdivision?
Well, one thing that I see all the time, Jacob, is we'll have people from, let's say, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago. They'll sell a site built home for 5, 6, 700,000. That's a normal thing up there up north. And once they come here to South Carolina, they'll realize that stick built homes in this area could run 250 to 350. And it's on a half acre or a quarter acre. And a lot of people are looking to get, at least 1 acre. Some people like to have 5, 10 or more. And whenever you purchase land, think about it like this. When you purchase a piece of land and there's no home on it, you have a few options. You could get a home built. You could get a manufactured or modular home, or you could try to do something like a, barndominium or a tiny house or something of that nature. But if you want to go with a stick-built home right now with a private builder on your land, you're going to be starting at around 275 on up. And for 275, you can get like the nicest double wide we sell. And then on a modular home, you can get a very nice modular home for 275. So what I see, Jacob, is a lot of people sell a home for 500,000 in Chicago. They come and see me. They buy a nice property on Lake Greenwood or Lake Murray for 100,000. They buy a nice home for me for 150, and then they're 250,000 cash, and they still got another 250 in their pocket. So just the cost right now is just insane. When it comes down to what you can resell a site built for, if you currently have one up north. And then one thing I can say, Jacob, one challenge we see is that I'll have some people tell me, people from up north, they're used to really high prices. So, you tell someone up north, this mortgage payment is going to be $1,500 a month, they don't blink an eye. But when I tell people from my hometown that Saluda, they're like, man, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, Brad, for a mobile home. And what I try to tell them is that, times are changing, so, if you rent a nice, double wide right now, just say if you're renting it, it's going to be $1,000 on up, in Greenwood or Saluda. And it's hard to even find something to rent. And another thing that we do see is your site-built homes in Greenwood. Let's say if it's in the Mill Village, you can get some of those homes like $120K. And a lot of my double wides, they cost more than that. But what I tell people is that those Mill Village houses, they're 40 years old. And if something goes wrong, it's going to cost you a lot of money when you need a new roof or a new HVAC system. On my homes, you might be paying $120, $130K for a double wide. We give you a 5-year warranty. And if something goes wrong within that period, you're going to be taken care of,
Okay, so when it comes to, you have a lot of people that's from the country, they might have land that their grandparents left, or land that's been in the family, and it's some people. Like I was talking to one of my buddies, and he lives over in Newberry, and
Okay.
and he told me that they have about 70 acres in the family, and his grandmama made everybody sign the contract. You can sell the land, but you can only sell it to a family member for $1.
Yes,
Cause she said that would be the only way that she would keep it in the family.
right,
Because her great granddaddy, owned that land, and so she didn't want it to go outside. And so if you didn't want to upkeep it and pay the tax, you can sell it to a family member, but you can only sell it for $1. And
right,
so I make that point because a lot of people already have 2 3 acres to put a home on. And
right.
so with you having a young couple that just got married, they maybe been in an apartment for 2 years, but now they ready to have kids and they want a home. So what are the necessary factors that they need to know before purchasing a home?
Okay, good question, Jacob. And I'm glad you mentioned that about family land, because that's a big factor. So we see a lot of people that come in that they have family land that they can put a home on. And one thing that they tell me is that, my grandmom did not want me to put this up as collateral. Lord forbid if I ever lost it, she'll roll over in her grave. I can't sell it, can't put it up as collateral, but I can put a home on it. And so one thing to notate, you can't do that with a stick built home. So if you got family land and you want to build a house, you have to put that land up as collateral. That's just the nature of getting a house built. You can survey off, if it's a 70-acre parcel, you can survey off a half acre, or something of that nature just to, secure the loan to build a house. But you're going to 100% have to put up some of that land to get a house built. In my industry in manufactured housing, you got the choice to do it either way. So, if you want to keep your land out of it, just put the manufactured home on the property, and keep your deed free. You got that choice. If you did want to put up the land as collateral, you're going to see a better interest rate. So the interest rate for my industry, if you put your land up as collateral the same way you have to on a stick built, you're going to see a very similar interest rate to a regular site built home. But if you choose to go the route that you can't do on a site build and just, put the home on the land and keep the land totally out of it, you will see a little bit higher rate.
Okay, so based on seeing those higher rates, does those higher rates come in when you have fair credit, like, versus a person who have like a 770 and versus a person who has a 625? Like, how does those interest rates vary?
So it can typically vary a couple points, Jacob. On a site build right now, the best rate you can get is going to be between a 5 and 7. Generally, 6 is about the average right now. And we can get that done for you as well. So somebody with perfect credit could come in closer to a 5. If your credit is kind of rough, you could come in closer to a 7. The lender kind of handles all that, so I don't get too much into it, but my lenders will deep dive into it. But if you're choosing to keep your land out of it, the rates will typically go from 8 to 11%. And if you got really great credit, you're going to be closer to that 8%. If your credit's kind of, rough, you're going to be closer to that 10 or 11. So just keep that in mind. If you put the land up like a site build, you're going to get a site build rate. But if you choose to, keep the land out of it, just put the home on it, land has really nothing to do with the home. That's when you get into the higher rates.
Okay. And so with that being said, you as a home consultant, and like you say, you wasn't born to do it, but you found your way. So what was the best way for you in what we call customer networking, and getting people to understand who you are and getting people to understand that you hold the value for them to really get into a home, and that you're a great businessman. So how did you put yourself out there on Front Street where this customer told you about you and that customer told somebody else about you and that customer told a family member and a family member told a friend at work?
Right. So Jacob, one thing about me, brother, I'm myself. When I go to work every day, I'm a 100% me, and I treat people the way I want to be treated, and I treat people fair. So the way I look at it is if I'm being genuine with you and I'm just setting you up for success, the house is gonna sell itself. So like I never try to convince someone to purchase something. or tell them something that's not true. I'm gonna give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I'm just a really hard worker, Jacob. So one thing that I do is I treat people right. I give them a high level of service, and my customers they appreciate me. And then when I ask them, hey, can you do a testimonial for me? They're always willing to do it because I got that relationship with them and I treat them right. But it's a social media world. So one thing that, I tried to do when I first started was just learn the business. So when I first started, I never did anything on social media until, I went through the proper training. I learned my product. I wanted to be an expert in what I'm selling, just so I can do it with confidence. It's not a one question someone can ask me and I don't know, and I'm learning every day. So I don't know everything, but, I took the time to really learn my product and to be comfortable. When I was brand new, I didn't know all this stuff about the land, so I had to really learn that. But once I got, all of that information and I'm confident in what I'm doing, I push it on social media. And networking is huge, so the way I see it is, if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't put your product out there for the world to see, no one will know that you're doing it. And another thing is, whatever you believe about yourself is true. So I believe that I'm the best person for somebody to come see to purchase a home. I genuinely do believe it. And, no one will know that unless you're in front of them. And so that's why I just try to be aggressive on social media and treat people the right way.
Okay, and that's the way it should be, because um, your network is your net worth. So with that being said, when you're engaging with people and you're getting them to spend their hard work or money, they want to know that you stand, for integrity, for value, honesty, and you can be loyal to them as they're loyal to you when they're spending their money. And so, if there's anything they ever need, you can assist them with that. Okay, so another thing, as far as your lenders, um, do you kind of know around about where a person credit score should be, and if it's not there, do you have to tell them to, you got to get your credit score up so we can get you a better interest rate? But I'm definitely willing to work with you.
Yes, sir. So I have the ability to pull my customers' credit and take a look at it. But from my position, Jacob, there's a lot of rules. So there's this Frank Dodd Act that they're pretty tight on. So I can only say so much, even though I know what I need to tell them. I have to let my mortgage lending partner, do the communicating on it. But what I always do is I advise, so I can't really tell them like, look, if you knock this off your credit, that off your credit, your rate's gonna be better. I can't say that, but I can tell them, you need to be around a 620 on up if you're trying to do like a FHA or USDA. If you got family land and you're just financing a home, we can work with something as low as a 520, on up. So it just kind of depends on which loan type they're trying to go into, if they have land or not. But I can't, I can only say so much because of that Frank Dodd Act. But I always set them up for success and give them a good idea of what they're going to be looking at. That way, once my lender calls them, they're not surprised. So like I give them enough information so they're going to feel confident that once they get the call from my lender, that they have an idea of how that conversation is going to go.
Right. So with the Future Homeowners of America and with the USD Act, different programs with USDA, and as far as the veteran programs, and as far as the senior citizen programs, once people retired and they're pulling stuff out of their pension, their 401k, they IRA, with all the programs that you know about, what are some of what are the direction that most people would go once they find out? If Because some people have been a member of the Future Homeowners of America for a long time, and also members of certain USDA programs, and then you have the programs with the veteran affairs, yeah, and then you have the credit unions that are geared for veterans to really get the money they need to purchase homes and stuff. So, what are some of the best programs that you've seen, and how do you advise your clients to really check out them programs and maybe kind of become a member of some type of organization that's going to help home ownership?
Yes, sir. So in South Carolina, we have the South Carolina Housing Association, and they offer something called down payment assistance. So you can actually use that on site-built homes or manufactured homes if the lender is a approved lending partner. So not every lender in South Carolina is approved to do it, but I do have one lender, Atlantic Bay Mortgage. They are set up for it. So you can use that down payment assistance where South Carolina will give you a grant of about $6,000. It's typically the number, and I personally had a couple customers who utilized it. Was able to get their some of their closing costs and down payment taken care of. So I highly recommend. If you just Google SC Housing Association, look at that website. It's a lot of really great information on there for anybody who's interested in becoming a homeowner.
Okay, cool. So do you deal with people outside of South Carolina? So social media is so small. It's big, but it's so small. So you might have a person like me that share your post, but I might have a buddy from Augusta, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia,
Mhm.
Charlotte, North Carolina, or even Gastonia, North Carolina, and they were like, Jacob, man, I seen your post, man. Can you put me in touch? With your homie that that's a home consultant. So, what's the protocol of you dealing with out of state people?
Right. So, Clayton Homes is a large corporation. We got dealerships in pretty much every, medium to major size city. So we have to stay within a 2-hour radius. So I have personally helped someone purchase land and a home in Augusta, Georgia. Augusta's about an hour and 15 minutes from my dealership. So I can service that Augusta area, that Columbia area, Greenville, Spartanburg, because they're all within that hour to hour and a half range. But I cannot go farther than 2 hours, Jacob.
Okay. So, but I know based off relationships that I have, if this should happen, people will tell me, "Well, Jacob, I want to deal with your guy," because you deal with him, and I know that you're not gonna bring me nobody that's not on the up and up. So situations like that could kind of vary sometimes. And does that put you in a bad spot?
It doesn't. One thing I hate, man, is like I actually one of my sister-in-laws lived down in the Myrtle Beach area, and she wanted to purchase a home, and I had to tell her, I'm sorry, I just can't do it. Since you're about 4 hours out, I'm gonna have to get you with the Conway location. Clayton Homes at Conway is really close to Myrtle Beach. So I hate it, Jacob, when I run into situations where like I know people personally, or they reach out to me because they heard about me, but they're like 3, 4, 5 hours away, and sadly I just can't do anything for them. But thankfully, man, I do get a lot of business within this 2-hour radius, and it's a lot of families in need, within that 2-hour radius. So I'm just thankful for the business that I am able to conduct. But it is, a sad thing whenever someone, personally, it's 3, 4, 5 hours away, and they reach out to you looking for your help. But if somebody is outside of that radius, I'm always open to answer any kind of questions. If they went somewhere and they're not feeling 100% confident in what the salesperson told them, if they just want to reach out to me, I can give them a peace of mind. So I'm always open to talking to anybody.
Okay, back you, Icon.
Okay, so what is I mean, I don't know if you can speak on. I know you say you can't really somebody sitting in front of you with some things on their credit. You can't tell them what it is, but can you speak on the things that you do see on people's credit that pretty much like is always the Achilles heel? Can you speak?
Yes, sir. So one big thing, Connie, is I would say vehicles. A lot of people don't realize how a car loan can really, really hurt you when you try to buy a house. Because, these lenders are going to go off your debt to income ratio. And whenever you got, let's just say a $700 a month car payment, that is taking away 50 to 100K in the amount of house you can buy.
Mm.
So let's say if somebody made $50,000 a year and they got no vehicles, you know, they might have a credit card or like a personal loan, but let's just say the payment on that real low, you know, no car payment. They might be able to get approved for a house that's like 150 to 200K on a 50K income. But if somebody on a 50K income and they got a $700, you know, truck payment, instead of that 200K, they might be at like 110, 115. So, you know, it's going to really limit them on the type of house they can purchase whenever you got, you know, big car payments. And that's with any debt in general. So not just cars, you know, if you got a lot of personal loans, a lot of credit card debt, it can add up. But with credit cards, they only take that minimum monthly payment on the debt to income. So, you know, a lot of these cards that have a higher balance, but that minimum monthly payment might only be $30 or $50, something low. And that's the only thing that they're going to count on the debt to income. But with a car payment, you know, I see a lot of these car payments, $1,000 a month, you know, $1,200 a month, and it can really, really hurt you when it's time to buy a house.
Mm. Okay. So, you know, we all know people, me, you, and Jacob, that's done 10, 15, 20 years in prison. They come out, change their life. We know people who pretty much started business, very successful. Shoot, some of them, and people I've known are actually more successful, you know, business wise than, you know, people that's been working 30 years and on the straight and narrow once they get out and change their life around. So, but we know that at the same time, when they, you know, that sometimes it's hard for them to get apart, hard to do certain things. So in y'all situation, is it a way to go around all of that? Is it a way to work on that, or do they have a amount of time out of prison, or how does that work with somebody with a felony record?
Yes, sir. So somebody with a felony record, you know, the record really doesn't matter when it comes down to buying a home. It's just the amount of time out of prison can matter as far as how long you've been on your job. You know, so like with us, you got to have at least a 2-year work history. So if someone just got out of prison, let's say 6 months ago, you know, they're going to have to be on the job at least 2 years. So that's the only, you know, con to it is that, you know, we got to have that 2-year work history. So, you know, but after 2 years, you know, if you're consistent on a job 2 years, or if you're a business owner, and that's one thing I want to get into just real quick. Anybody who's self-employed, you know, they got either a 1099 or they run their own, you know, business or company. The income that you report on your taxes is what's going to really matter when it's time to get approved. So like I have some clients, let's say if they do hair for a living, a lot of these young ladies make a lot of money doing hair. But when it comes to tax time, you know, they don't report all of it, you know, so they don't have to pay all the money in taxes. And I understand, you know, I used to run a small business. So I do get it. But when it's time to buy a house, let's say if you're making $60K a year doing hair, but you only report $15K, you know, the lenders are looking at that $15K because they're going to require you to show the tax returns, and then you won't be able to buy a house on $15K, even though you make plenty of money to make the payment. You know, sadly, they just won't be able to get it, you know, approved for you. But, you know, anybody that's, you know, got a felony record, you know, if you got your life on track, you know, after you've been grounded at least 2 years, whether that's self-employed or, you know, you got a job, after that 2-year mark, we can get it done for you.
Okay, so I'm going to follow that up. When it comes to independent contractors, business owners, when you got money coming into an account, you got your personal account, you got your business account. So where should the money be going to first, or whatever, to basically? Because I remember a couple of years ago I went to a dealership and I can't remember exactly what he was telling me, but I know it was like I think the money was supposed to go through the business, then you can funnel it over to the personal or whatever. So what would you recommend as far as the way when you got your money coming in? Should it be in your business account first? Then also, well, I'm going to answer that question. Ask another question behind that.
Yes, sir. So what I recommend on that is whatever your business expenses are, put the money that you need to put into that business to operate it, put that in first to cover all your expenses, and then figure out how much you're going to pay yourself. You know, so if you make, let's say if you're cutting grass, and you're making $1,000 a week, but you got to pay $300 a week and, fuel, materials, weed eater break, got to go buy something for it. And it costs you $300 out of that 1,000 to operate the business that week. At least have that $300, go into the business account to cover that. And then you pay yourself $700. So you put the whole 1,000, let all the money go into the business account. But after your expenses are covered, you pay yourself that extra money and just transfer it to the personal account.
Okay. And then also, this, I heard early this year. I can't remember exactly where it came from. Probably something online I heard. But basically, we starting the business now. I've heard it's good to start a business with your personal name. So basically, if I said Eddie Jones LLC, so basically now, no matter whatever I'm doing, buying a car, house, whatever I'm doing, basically if I'm doing it under the LLC name, now they can't necessarily come at me on a personal level because now I pretty much made myself a business. So can you speak on that?
Yes, sir. So whenever you establish on that LLC, it's very, very beneficial because let's just say, if you got a lump sum of money sitting in your personal account, if you don't do the LLC and, you're running the business and you get sued, those personal funds could be, they could be at jeopardy. But when you do that LLC, even if you do it under a personal name and it's a LLC, it's still a limited liability company. So whatever you got on your personal accounts will be separate from that LLC. So in the event that something goes south, whatever is in the LLC accounts, that's the only thing that someone could necessarily go after, and then all your personal assets will be secured. So yeah, I always recommend doing an LLC if possible.
So now when it comes to purchasing a home, if you did LLC, and let's just say on your personal side, you got like a 4 credit score, but now you got LLC business or whatever, it change things how you set up the application, or does it you still have to go back to the personal in order for the buy it?
When it comes down to buying a home, it's going to have to go through the personal. But however much you pay yourself, you can still use the income from the LLC. So if that's your income, you can use the income from the LLC, but the house itself will be, in that personal name. So as long as you're doing your taxes right, that's what it's really going to come down to is how you're doing the taxes on that LLC. Because if that's your main source of income, you just have to be able to show those tax returns to my lenders for them to use that income on your LLC. But you can, keep everything separate. But when you go to buy the house, you just got to make sure the taxes are right on the LLC if that's going to be your main source of income, and you'll be able to use it to buy the house, personally.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as let's talk about manufacturing homes and the underpinning, whether it's cement block, whether it's brick underpinning, whether it's the fiberglass underpinning. What would you tell a customer over a period of time would be a smart investment as far as underpinning?
Good question, Jacob. So just to let you know, if someone's going to be doing any kind of land deal, if it's a FHA, USDA, or a BA, you have to do brick because the lender is going to require the brick. So they won't let you do anything else for them to, go through it, the loan and approve it. You're going to have to do the brick underpinning. But let's say if you got family land or you're a cash buyer or you're just doing, the type of loan where the land doesn't really matter, you got the option to do, vinyl underpinning. That's going to be the cheapest. Fiber cement is the one kind of right in the middle, and then the brick. But what I always recommend, Jacob, is to go with the brick. It's about $5,000 more expensive than the vinyl, and it's about $2,500 more expensive than that fiber cement. But the brick is going to be what looks the best, and it's going to hold up over time. Whenever you go at vinyl, when you start weed eating, you're going to get little holes in it. It gets flimsy. But the brick is really stable. Over time, it's going to continue to look really good. You might have to pressure wash it, every now and then. but the brick is going to have that longevity appearance, and also it's going to be stable, not going to get holes, not going to get flimsy.
Okay. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. But what's so interesting about people when they're looking for homes, a lot of people don't really understand the value of reading a floor plan. So, do you teach your clients how to read the floor plans, and what options do you give them from floor plans? So, I know you got your single wide, your double wide, your triple wide, and you also have your quadruple wide as well, right?
We're only doing double wides and triple wides right now, so we're not
Okay.
doing quad triples. Now there
Okay.
are some manufacturers out there that are doing them, some of the smaller companies. But right now Clayton is just sticking with single, double, and triple wides.
Okay. And so, what is the value of those blue plans, floor plans, excuse me, and understanding the value where this is at, where this at, and just understanding just the whole square feet, because a lot of people may not understand when you say square footage, or
Yes,
when
sir.
you read off the floor plan how the master bedroom is versus the other bedrooms in the house, and the kitchen, the living room, and den, and and if they want you guys with the manufacturing home, if they want you guys to have kind of add a garage with it as well. So how does all that work when really explain it to a customer?
Yes, sir. So what I tell them, Jacob, whatever kind of price range they want to be in, that's kind of where we'll start. Just because we build about 200 different floor plans, so we got something at every single price budget. So once I kind of know how much the customer, the price range they want to be in, I typically always have at least 3 to 10 floor plans that'll be in that budget. But as far as how to look at them, and the square footage, let's just say a standard 3 bed, 2 bath, it could be about 56 foot long, 28 foot wide. It'd be about 1,500 square foot. And that'll have just your living room, kitchen, 2 bedrooms, and a bathroom on the hallway, and then your master bed and master bath. If you extend that square footage from 1,500 to say 1,700, you typically gonna have two choices. You can have the living room and a nice sized den and utility room now. So you can do a 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,700 square foot with a living room and den. But if you need a 4 bedroom, let's say if a 4 bedroom was more important to you than a den, then a 1,700 square foot 4 bedroom would basically be the living room, kitchen, and then your 3 bedrooms, bathroom, and your master. So like a 1,700 square foot home, you could do it as a 3 bedroom with a living room and den, or a 4 bedroom with just one living room. And then on your larger homes, let's say a home that's 2,000 square foot, you could do a 4 bed, 2 bath with living room and den, or you could do it to where the den can be walled off into a 5th bedroom. So you could do a 5 bed, 2 bath at 2,000 square foot, but instead of it having the living room and den like the 4 bedroom, it'll just have one living area. So I always in a lot of our floor plans, we got those options where once I print it out, you'll see the floor plan that'll be standard 3 bed, 2 bath with living room and den. But at the top of that den, you can see where that 4 bedroom just kind of slides down. So you're basically using that space that the den would be to convert it over to a 4 bedroom. So I always just kind of walk my customers through the different options. And then how that square footage kind of work as far as the living room and den. And typically, if you don't need a den, you can make that den an extra bedroom.
Okay. I can.
So, in your opinion, do you like the fact? Because I know, like nowadays, well, probably been like that for years, where the customer can or the potential customer come on the lot and take the book, walk around 20, 15, 20 homes, look at each one, without the sales rep being on like at a car lot. Do you like that concept? Is it you, or you think that it should be something different?
Well, I kind of, I tried it both ways. there's been times in my career where I just kind of give them a good introduction when they walk in. I give them a little bit of education on what I got on my lot, and I just kind of let them walk and do their own browsing. And then there's been times where I walk with the customer and I stick with them. It really just depends on the person. So what I do now is that I greet them. I try to get a good feel for them before they start walking. If I feel like that customer is gonna, want me to be there so they can ask certain questions when they're in the home, I'm gonna go out there with them and stick with them. But if they're the kind of client that just want to kind of look around without me being on their hip, I let them do that. But once they come back in, I'm gonna get them in the back room and just try to get a feel for, did they see anything that they like, and are they ready to move forward today? But personally, I prefer to walk with every single customer, just because I can give them all of the knowledge, and if they got any questions, I'm there to help them, and also so that they know that I'm invested in them. I don't just see them as another person that came in that's just walking the lot. Like, I'm actually going to spend time with them and be there with them to help them out with any kind of questions they got. But by all means, if somebody do want to just come in and browse, I'm gonna let them do their thing, and just let them know I'm here to help them if they got any questions.
Okay. So on your particular lot, how many sales on your lot?
I'm sorry, say that again.
On your particular lot, how many sales people on your?
So it's 3 of us. It's myself, and then we have 2 others.
Okay, so are you the closing man?
No, sir. I'm the senior sales rep, so I've been at our location the longest. But I'm just I'm just like the other 2.
Okay. So
Yes,
as far as, over the years, because I know at one time certain banks or whatever, lenders, whatever, wouldn't like VA, they didn't really deal with manufactured homes of that nature. So as far as equity thing, or as far as I'm guessing now the equity, like in a home, with a regular home, and a maybe like a manufactured home, modular home, I guess it probably is more equity in it now. So how has the equity changed over the years for a VA lender to jump on board now?
Yes, sir. So, Connie, one thing to let you know, sir, is a lot of your credit unions, they will only do the modular. So our modular homes are the ones that are around 225 on up, similar to stick builds. So a lot of our credit unions will do a modular, but no credit unions are doing your standard double wides. They still don't do them. Now some of your larger lenders, like a Wells Fargo, Atlantic Bay Mortgage, they recently came on board to where they will do the double wides. But there's still a lot of lenders out there that still don't do the standard double wides. But just about all of them do the modular homes now. So your modular homes, they gain value and equity just like a site built. So let's say a modular home that was purchased 10 years ago for 150K. Right now, they're probably selling for around 250K. Your double wides, they gain value as well, but they also lose value. So the answer to that question is about how you choose to set it up. So if you set up a double wide, without the land being involved, let's say you got family land, you didn't want to tie it up as collateral, and you set it up just on the family land, and you don't do your brick underpinning, you just do it as a standard, vinyl underpinning or standard deck. If you try to sell that home later on, what essentially happens is you post it on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, and you're telling customers, look, I'm selling the home itself. You're going to have to come and get it off my property. So whenever you sell it that way, you're going to lose a lot of money and a lot of value. But if you sell a double wide just like a regular house with the land, that's when you make money. So if you set up the double wide on the brick and you choose to part ways with that double wide, on the land, and you're selling the land and the double wide together, that's when it makes money just like a regular site built home. So as far as the equity on a modular, you're always going to appreciate in value. And keep in mind on that modular, you don't have the choice to tell someone, I'm just selling a home. The modular has to stay on the land, just like a regular house. It's no title on a modular, so it goes into your land deed just like a regular house. But on your double wide, like I said, you got that choice to kind of do it like a regular site built or modular, or you could do it like a mobile home, and tell someone, look, I'm selling just a home. You got to come get it off my property. So, that kind of answers that question. On your double wides, you can make money if you sell it like a house. But if you're selling it like a mobile home and you're telling someone you got to come move it, that's where you lose your money.
Okay. So is any like especially with a mobile home, is it a certain amount of insurance that you have to get on a mobile home, being that you have, especially with the hurricane season and tornadoes and things of that nature?
Yes, sir. So I'm actually a licensed insurance agent. So I did, go through all of that as well. So Clayton Homes, we own our own insurance company. So you have to have the insurance escrowed into the monthly payment. And typically, it's gonna be the amount of coverage depends on the percentage that the house. So basically it's the percentage of the home sales price. So typically what you're gonna be saying is you gotta have whatever that home is selling for, you're going to have that much insurance on it. So essentially, if a home costs $150,000, you got to have $150,000 worth of insurance, but that will cost you roughly 10% per month. So it'd be like on $150,000 house, your insurance per month would be around $150.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
basically almost like if your mortgage was like $1,350, then you got to add in another $150 on top of that to go towards that insurance.
Correct. And most of the time, so let's just say whenever we get a monthly payment back and it's $1,200 a month, typically the house itself is only about $900 per month. And then the rest of that money comes from the insurance and the taxes. So like when I'm going through these monthly payments, I educate my clients and let them know, like, and we have it broken down for you. So you can see like on a $1,200 a month payment, you'll be able to see where, $900 of that is the actual house principal and interest. And then, it could be $150 for the insurance, $150 for the property tax. So the taxes in the county, you don't have to pay the property tax bill at the end of the year, because you're paying those property taxes every single month with that escrow account. And what'll happen is once the taxes come at the end of the year, once they send you the tax bill, you just send that to the lender and they use the escrow account to pay for it. Or sometimes the lender will tell you just pay the county that money and then we're going to send you a refund check through the escrow account.
Oh. All right. Jake, else?
Nah, man, it's been splendid. He learned a lot. We asked a lot, said a lot, and got some knowledge. So,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
good stuff.
And so I want to appreciate you coming on tonight, Brad, and giving us this information. And it was very valuable information that all of us may need moving forward when we want to purchase a home, especially in the modular home or the manufactured home or whatever. So because I know a lot of people don't really know it, or don't really understand it, or don't know the value of it, or whatever, like they do, or your regular, what you call it, site home.
Yeah, site bill.
Yeah, don't really get it, especially people up north in certain areas that
Yes, sir.
don't come from the South and not used to those homes or whatever. So like you said, people coming from probably Chicago, New York, places like that, who come down and probably looking like, what is this? It might be probably the first time I even seen a double wide in some
Right.
you know what I mean? Believe it or not, you know what I mean? So but thank you for coming on here. Everybody find you, look you up, and get information, they need. Now you told me you were life insurance, you jack of all trades, South Carolina life insurance part.
So I don't do life insurance. I do property insurance, and I'm licensed for like auto, property, home, and marine and casual.
Oh, okay. Got you said marine and cattle?
Casual.
Oh, casual. Okay. That's just the state of South Carolina.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So let everybody know where they can find you and look you up and all that good.
All right. Yeah, I really do appreciate you guys having me on, and you guys be blessed.
Yeah. I mean, where can they find you? You got
I'm
social
sorry,
media.
say that again.
Where can they find you in your social media?
Okay, yeah. If you just on Facebook, it's go see Brad Yee. So you just use the hashtag go see Brad Yee. That's my Facebook. And same thing on my TikTok, it's go see Brad Yee. Instagram, it's all the same. Yep, go see Brad Yee.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I appreciate you coming on. Shout out to all our affiliates, Village Global Network, She Real Radio, T-Dub Entertainment, and if you know, basically follow on Sports and Entertainment Network on YouTube, and want to book us for anything, interview, or any occasion you have up, 95 South Podcast at gmail.com. So I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. It'll be our last probably episode until probably after Christmas. So everybody have a great Christmas and enjoy it the best you can. And we out of here.
Peace and blessings.
We got the good vibes, got the 1942 pouring in my cup. In the